Juices. Peace and power. We're back live with Readyo Radio. That's Readyo Radio on the Urban Nation Radio Network. You can tune in to our Facebook event, Readyo Radio. Watch Readyo Radio live, or you can go to our page, Readyo Radio. That's Ready with an O Radio on Facebook, and you can find us on Facebook. Keith Horton, Be the Ujima Mind,
Kojo Lee.
just simple. And so we have our next guest on the show, and really excited about this topic, being a good sport. And we kind of gave a prelude to what we're going to talk about. We're going to go more in depth as to, Kojo kind of gave you why we're talking about this. So I'm going to kick it over to Info Keith to share our kind of the bio of the show, so you can get that more information. Then we'll introduce our next guest.
And so this is the post that we have posted online. Tonight's episode is episode number 37.
37.
And the title is called Being a Good Sport. Readyo Radio is excited to look at the impact of the sport complex on our black population and its effects on the whole. There's been much discussion about Mayweather being the greatest, and he's even attempted to put himself in the same sentence with Ali. So we will address that. We will address what made Ali great and what makes Mayweather great. This will open the door to compare athletes from the past to athletes today. We'll look at the different times we are in and the silence we often find from the athletes and why this might be so. We will explore if we expect too much from athletes and celebrities in general, or if we have a role to play in representing those who have enabled them to live the lifestyles they live. Our guest this week is local boxing great Craig Lewis, who is outspoken and looks to challenge the status quo in regards to what we should expect from athletes. Tonight we go the distance. You don't want to miss this one. Only on Readyo Radio.
There you have it. Kojo?
Yeah, so I want to read quickly what the etymology of the word sport is for those who may not be familiar with sport. And it's just from etymology.com. You can on etymonline.com. So ETYMONLINE. You can also just Google etymology dictionary to pull up.
Okay.
But anywho, it reads, sport is a noun. And early in the 15th century, it meant pleasant pastime that offers amusement or relaxation, entertainment, or fun. Also a pastime or game, flirtation, pleasure taken in such activity. In the late 14th century, it meant from the old French disport, pleasure, enjoyment, delight, solace, consolation, favor, privilege, related to disporter and deporter. It meant divert, to amuse, please, or play. So this word sport is really about pleasure and amusement, not anything serious, I guess you can say, something that you do just to pass the time. So I want to bring that up because a lot of times we hear this word sport and it gets real serious. People, even in Europe, they have a lot of soccer fans who will go fighting because of their favorite team lost or whatever. But the point being, this is really for pleasure. It's really to enjoy yourself. But over time, it's been used to control the masses and made to a much more serious thing. And in my opinion, even though it has been serious, it hasn't. Those who participate in it haven't always been linked to serious issues. And so we have a local boxer here, Craig Lewis, who we've been working with off the scene, and to get on the show as well. So this week we have Craig here, and if you can, tell us a little bit about your relationship with sport and how you got involved with boxing and what you see in the sport world in general.
All right, this is Craig Dynamite Lewis, 6-0 champion here in Detroit. I've been in a boxing game for about 10 years now. I've been an athlete my whole life. A couple of topics that I want to touch on is how us black athletes need to come together, and not even just the black athletes, athletes in general, to make our situation a lot better. We generate enough revenue where we can make some serious changes, whether it's building more recreation centers, opening our own schools to teach our own curriculums, and so much more. And I feel as though it's not enough for us athletes be coming together and uniting to put our revenue together to make our people better. A lot of us move out and we don't give back to our community, give a charity here and there, and I don't feel like that's good enough. We need more Muhammad Ali's revolutionary athletes than we have now. There's people that's just about money.
And so, we want to thank you very much for agreeing to come on the show, and just being a, I don't know what the word is, just caring enough to speak your mind and speak up and speak out when a lot of people in your position would just not. It's a sacrifice.
I tell people all the time, like, this boxing thing is very beautiful. I love doing it, but more than anything, this is more of a way for me to be able to help on my people, help on my family, my personal family itself, but my community and my people. If I can generate revenue where I can actually help out and put back into the community and build our young brothers and sisters up, that's what I want to do. And that's the goal I have. And being in this sport, I sacrifice my body so I can do so.
Yeah, and I think more people should, have the disposition or the will to help the people like you do. Because if you look at the fan base they have. So just how all of those athletes participated in the ice bucket challenge. Just imagine if they, put out a Black Lives Matter challenge or anything like that. It would generate a lot of attention, just like the ALS ice bucket challenge did. Because a lot of people follow those people, and then so they already have the following, they have the money, but a lot of them don't want to get involved because they don't want to upset certain fans and break certain contracts and different things like that. And it's like a lot of people, they sell their soul to be famous. It's like, you still have to give back.
And I agree with that deeply. I notice even when on my way to coming great or on my way to becoming a good athlete and everything, a lot of people speak to me on my social media comments because I have no problems speaking on what the problems are going on right now, whether it's black men being shot in the streets by cops and people tell me, you know what, Craig Dynamite Lewis, that's not a good role for you. You need to just stay focused on your career. Let somebody else handle that. And I'm like, if I don't stand up, who will? I mean, we do have people who will, but right now I'm out here to be a role model. I'm not going to be a puppet, and everything, to come out here and just shuck and jive for these people. No, I'm going to be like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali spoke his mind, and now he's remembered as one of the greatest for that. Am I trying to be Muhammad Ali? No, but am I trying to be great, and not just great in boxing, but great in life?
Yeah, that puts us right into the place of one of the points of our discussion is what made Muhammad Ali great versus Floyd Mayweather or Tommy Hearns or whoever. For me, it's like when the people call you great, there's no denying, and it's one thing, I know people here who call Floyd Mayweather great, but then I ask them, well, what's the foundation of it? And a lot of them will say, well, he's the best. He doesn't lost a fight. He has all this money. He's focused on creating money for the black community. He's his own business. And I appreciate that. That is true. I know I watched a clip of him working with it was exotic car dealership, and he made sure he worked with a black car dealer. And again, he bought a Bugatti and Ferrari Enzo, but I mean, that's what he does with his money on some level is his own business. In the same breath, we see what happens when the Caucasian or the Asian or the Hispanic community get money. They go and they put it back in their communities. And so when we tend not to see the same example. And so from my perspective, what made Muhammad Ali the greatest, and he will always be the greatest, is that he risked his box career. He actually got his title stripped because they wanted him to go to Vietnam, and he said no. And so it was more so part of it was he was just brought up in a time that allowed him to make the stance he did. but also it makes us question: will some of our current celebrities do the same thing or not? And even Charles Barkley, I put a image of him in the advertisement on Facebook, but he has an interesting point to make too. He says, he dunks a basketball good. So does that make him the role model? Should she be the one responsible for raising your children? He says no. And I have to respect his stance. At the same time, my perspective is, if we the people, and this is where we come in, we have a huge role to play in this. Where I'm going with this. We the people give all this money for these celebrities, for these athletes to become wealthy, and then we get upset when they turn around and they don't give back, so to speak. But again, we're the one that gave first, and so what do we expect from them? Do we go, again, this word sport? What do we go to them for? We went to there for some pastime relief. So I guess the question I'll pose to all of us is: do we really feel that these people who are there to entertain you should be held accountable for how they become iconized or made into a symbol who has on some level been worshipped? The Beyoncés, the Jay-Z's, Miley Cyrus, all these people who are suddenly, as soon as you see them anywhere, the cameras just follow them, paparazzi. Like, how much of it is our fault for looking for them to be leaders versus, them just being themselves and saying, hey, you gave me your money, so it's your fault.
One thing I wanted to speak on the Floyd Mayweather piece. If you looked at the fight, for people who watched it, it was $100, which is like double the price of the average pay-per-view boxing fight. So that was one way they exploited all of the people. But I wanted to talk about the fact that he's from America, from the United States. Pacquiao is from wherever he's from, Philippines or whatever. And they cheered for Pacquiao, but they booed Mayweather. So what does that tell you about how the people feel about Mayweather? It's like, you get booed in your own country when somebody from an entirely different country gets the praises. So it's like, that should tell you something about him as a person.
And I have a few opinions on that. Some of that could be because of Mayweather's natural cockiness, his arrogance, that could have him to delete some fans base. But one thing I do notice is that you got fighters like Ricky Hatton who come over here and they fight on pay-per-view in the United States, and they bring half the stadium you see there filled up with Ricky Hatton fans. Now, when us American fighters go overseas, we don't have a big following like that. That's a big difference between the boxing over here and the boxing over in any other country. Now, another problem what could be with Mayweather is got to bring it back to what he says. He said he was better than Ali. Now, he's undefeated. Muhammad Ali didn't go undefeated, but Muhammad Ali was a great man in and outside the ring, and that's what makes it different. I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan of him in the boxing ring. I might even be joined with his association one day. Who knows? We are talking about that. But what I really want to say is that whether or not that you don't like him as a person, if you're an American and you claim all this American, this patriotism, why would you root for somebody who's outside your country than who's somebody that's in your own country? If he was a white man or a Caucasian, would you have been felt the same way, no matter how arrogant he was?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, and that's the thing, about being over here in America, is that it's always a double standard. It's like, oh, you can do certain things, or the same situation, but one person is one color, one person is a different color, and this person is right and this person is wrong, but they did the same thing. So it's like, it's always going to be that dichotomy, and that judgmental. Like, for example, Hurricane Katrina. You see white people go in the store, they do the same thing as black people, but the blacks are looters, and the white people, they find food, they're, trying to feed their family, they're surviving, refugees. Like, if you just look at the media, and they are the ones who paint that picture. Like, that's where most people get their viewpoints on us, because they don't have any meaningful interaction with us, so they get it all from the media. So that's why, the general consensus is that we are thugs, we, are on welfare, these kind of things is that they just see it in the media. I mean, they don't know any black people who are thugs or criminals or murderers. They just see it on TV. So that's just the general consensus. It's like, and the media sensationalizes everything because it's all about ratings. So just for example, the Baltimore thing, they showed a 1% of protests that did become so quote unquote violent, but they don't show the 99% of protests that are peaceful. But they want to sensationalize it, and then everybody thinks, oh, black people are, so bad. But it's like, I mean, that's the media painting that picture.
And so, as you can see, there are various ways to look at how we deal with what we expect from, what we expect from athletes and what we expect from the media. And so, when we come back, let's delve deeper into what are our expectations. I don't think we really answered the question. What are our expectations from these celebrities, and how do we measure that? So we're gonna take a quick break. Come back after these messages, and with more Radio on Urban Nation Radio. If you have a question, please comment on the urbannationradio.com/live blog. Peace.